Hello and welcome to the MSTAR training session of marking the class attendance for students once in a day. Before you can start this activity, please make sure that you are the class teacher for the class section for which you want to mark the class attendance. So let us see the steps to mark the class attendance. Click on button MSTAR and select module attendance. The name of the module appears on the main screen, indicating that you are now working in the attendance module. Click on the button activities and select the screen class attendance. As the screen opens, select the academic year and select session, the session in which your class exists. The moment you select the session, and if you are using a class teacher's card, then the class and the section gets automatically displayed. Since we are not using a class teacher's OMV card for this training session, it is not populating the class and section. In this case, we will select the class manually and the section manually. As you select the section, the list of the students who are admitted to that class section appears in the grid below. The grid shows us the school admission number, the roll number of the students, the name of the students arranged in the alphabetical order, and the status. The status by default is showing as present. In the last column, we can enter remarks, and it is a blank column by default. After you have selected the section and the students have populated in the grid, select the date. For this, click on the box against the date and a small calendar opens on the screen. By default, this field is showing the current date, which means that it allows us to mark the attendance for the current day by default. If we want to mark the attendance for a previous day, then once the calendar opens, click on a previous date and the date appears in the date field. In case in the same calendar we want to change the month, then click on the arrow buttons and we go to the previous month. In case we want to go to the next month, click on the forward arrow, and this way we can go back and come forth to different months. So let us select a date in the current month. The date appears in the date field. After this, select the section again and the list appears again. This means we are now ready to mark the attendance for the date selected. You can also see a field attendance taken by. This field shows us the name of the class teacher and the co-class teacher. Again, if you are using a class teacher's card, automatically the name of the class teacher will appear and you don't need to select this field manually. After having checked that this field is appearing and showing us the correct class teacher name, we are now proceeding with marking the attendance. As already mentioned, the default status of all the students appear as present, and we can easily mark the absentees in the class section. So if we already have the list of absentees, then click on the status present and it automatically changes into the status absent. In case we want to write any remarks, the same can be done in the remarks column. Similarly, let us mark the attendance status of other students also. So click on the status present and it becomes absent. If you have another status for the attendance, like we can see here as the present, absent and leave, and we want to mark this child as leave, then further click on the absent status and it automatically changes to the next status. If you want to revert back to a previous status, then keep clicking on the status. Once you click on the leave status, the next status or the previous status is present. So the application tells you that you're trying to change the leave status of the student back to the present status, and whether you are sure to change the attendance status and delete the leave application. If you want to mark the student as present again, click on the yes button. If no, then you can click on the no button and the leave status remains as is. So let us see when we mark yes. So the leave status changes back to the present status. Let us mark for any other student the leave status. So for the student with roll number 18, let us click on the present status. It becomes absent, and further click on the absent status. It becomes leave. In case we want to mark and go down, let us scroll back and click on this button and the list moves down, and mark the attendance as required. As we are marking the attendance, we can also see that the screen is showing us the total strength of the student in the class section as 48, and it is also changing and showing us the status in the summary section, which is present as 45 out of 48, absent marked as 2, and leave marked for 1 student. So as we are marking the attendance, we can also check whether the attendance being marked is correct or not. To save this attendance, click on the save button and the data saving confirmation message is received, which means that attendance for the selected date has been marked successfully. Click OK on the data saving confirmation message. There are other features in the screen as well. So let us see those features. Let us select another date to mark the attendance. So I am selecting another date from the calendar, selecting the section again, and the list of the students appear. Now for this day, we can also mark all students as absent in one go. For doing so, we see this button. It is currently showing all present, which means that all the students have been marked as present. If we click on this button, it changes to all absent. So for this, we see this button as all present. This means that the students are all present. Let us click on the button. When we click on all present, it automatically makes the students as present, which was already there earlier, but now it has refreshed the status as present. Now if we see that the button which was earlier showing as all present becomes all absent, which means that if we now click on this, the present status will change into the absent status. Click on all absent and the present status of all the students for the date selected becomes absent. We can save the class attendance as required. In case we want to update the absent status to present, the same steps needs to be followed. Click on the absent and it changes to the next status, leave. Another thing to notice now is also that the all absent status button changes to all leave. So if we now want to make all the students as on leave, then click on the button all leave and the status changes to leave for all the students. You can save the details to save the attendance for the selected date. and change the status of the student back to present or absent as required. After changing the status of all the students, click on the Save button. Let us see some other features also. In the grid, the columns can be sorted if required. For example, each column can be sorted based on the field admission number or the roll number. On clicking on the column heading, the data in the column gets sorted either in the ascending or in descending order. So, in case we want to order it in descending order of alphabetical names, click on the student name and it becomes in the descending order. Similarly, if we want to see all one type of status as one as together, then click on the status column and it sorts the attendance status. Click on button Save to save the attendance status and you get the data saving confirmation message. Click OK on the confirmation message and your attendance for another day is saved. Now let us again see the attendance that we just marked. So clear the screen by clicking on the Clear button and select the academic year, select session, select class and section. The class, section and attendance taken by gets automatically displayed if you are using a class teacher's card. Once we select a section and a date for which the attendance is already marked is selected, it gives us a message that the attendance has already been marked for the selected day. Do you wish to view it? Since we want to view the saved attendance, click on the button Yes. And it shows us the attendance that we just saved for the date. That completes attendance marking steps for the students where we want to maintain the attendance status once in a day. Click on the Clear button and repeat these steps for other dates as well. Thank you for watching this video.